There's some way to get to the school building straight from the auxiliary building, but I'm not keen to find out and possibly get lost, so I go out from the exit that I know works. I stop the stairs of the auxiliary building, deliberating for a moment between going to the dorms to get my books and stuff and going straight away to the class. The sun stings my eyes, so I head towards the dorms. The halls are quiet, as the courtyard was. Naturally so, since everyone is in class. I knock lightly at the door of 3-3 and push open the door when Matao calls from the other side. Sorry I'm late. 15 pairs of eyes turn to me. Good morning, Naki. Naki! Matao seems to be somewhat confounded by my coming in late, as if I interrupted his flow or something. Judging from the rambling lectures from his class tend to be, that might be the case. I pass on the note the nurse gives me. Matao takes it with a nod and reads it quickly. He lifts his eyebrows and gives me a kind of a stern look, but doesn't say anything, just nods solemnly again. I shrug and he gestures at me to run along, so I naturally do. So many transitions, dang. The class goes on lazily. I think I'm starting to get into the rhythm of the school. I have even stopped worrying about taking notes and being overly attentive. The first days, I was pretty high-strung in class. Matao finishes his lecture about electricity early, but continues without a pause about the festival. So, as you know, the festival is on a day after tomorrow. I hope everyone's projects are going to be successful this year. Have a good time, but also, come Sunday, please keep the meaning of the festival in your minds. Games and fried food! Of course Misha would shout that. Everyone bursts out in laughter, and so do I. Yes, thank you, Makoto. Oh, I didn't get to read that either. The remainder of his sentence is buried beneath the ring of the lunch bells. Everyone starts packing their things. Vitao deliberates for a moment, but since almost nobody seems to pay attention anymore, he gives up and sits down. It's crowded in the hallway, or as crowded as hallways in this school probably get. Most of the students seem to be heading down for the cafeteria. Normally, I join the flow and grab a lunch myself, but today is different. Today I've been invited to lunch on the roof. An odd location, but that's where I was told to go. Fortunately, I managed to find shelter from the storm in the lee of the classroom door. Eventually, the torrent subsides, and I step tentatively out into the hallway, only to be met by Emmy, who comes flouncing down the hallway like a cannonball. Hey, hi Hisao, great timing. I have super extra lunch today, as promised. Let's go upstairs. The stairway to the roof is a little dilapidated. I think that's the word. Yeah. But it's clearly been used recently. At the top of the stairs is a door, complete with missing padlock. I wonder who the intrepid individual was that removed the lock. Emmy shoves the door open and steps beaming into the sunlight. Suddenly, a tall, dark stranger appears out of nowhere, standing imposingly in front of us. Hey, it's her again. Emmy flinches back, almost falling back down the stairs. Eek! Hello. Yipes, you scared me, Ren. Wait, isn't she... Hello. Hello! Hello! That's you. That's how W sound. Noticing that Ren is speaking to me, Emmy looks curiously at me. You two know each other? I look confusedly at Ren. She's that friend of yours? Ren has turned her gaze towards the clouds drifting about the school. The girl with no legs is friends with the girl with no arms. Yeah, that kind of makes sense. I didn't know you knew this person, Emmy. The awkward silence lasts only for a few seconds until Emmy looks until Emmy lets out a tiny giggle, shrugging the coincidence off. I invited Hisao for lunch. If you know him, that's just better. Oh, does this mean I don't get food? Or did you invite him for lunch without the lunch? Neither. I have food for 3. Nice thinking. They walk to the other end of the roof while I stay at the clock tower for a while, taking in the atmosphere. There's nobody else but us here. I guess the roof is not as popular as it is in other schools. A few run-down benches and tables are scattered around the edges, perhaps in an attempt to make the roof look less desolate. Small pebbles covering the roof rattle beneath our feet. I peek through the chain-link fence to take a look at the school grounds and beyond. Students are strolling in pairs and groups around the quadrangle at the cafeteria. A few delivery trucks are driving past the school towards the convenience store nearby. Somewhere a watchdog barks at a passerby. Somehow, when I look towards the town center, the small town feel strikes me very strongly, almost palpably. Words! The hectic lifestyle of being a metropolis seems so far away and foreign here. Nobody has to run to catch a bus like their life depends on it, or get their senses overloaded by the neon lights of traffic jams. I feel surprisingly optimistic about this new life of mine, looking at my new hometown, even if it's going to be mine for only one short year. Finding out about my illness and having to move away from home all came so suddenly I haven't had time to think how I feel about it. When I step out of the shadow of the clock tower to the open, I feel warmth touching my back. The sun shines from a perfectly clear cerulean sky. Cerulean gym. A cool breeze sweeping over the rooftop makes me shiver, but only briefly. The wind carries the scent of trees and flowers, not smog and car exhaust like it used to just a few weeks ago. Emmy settles on a bench with Ren in tow and produces 1 big and 2 small lunchboxes from her bag. Come on, Hisao, what are you waiting for? She is beckoning me to join them, making room on the already small bench. Well, I'm too close. I seat myself on the corner of the bench to take as little space as possible. It's pretty cramped, but somehow all 3 of us fit on it. Impressive view. Emmy suppresses a giggle and places a lunchbox in front of Rin and hands another lunchbox at me. Here you go, lunch as promised. Homemade, no less. I'm impressed. Wow, this looks really good. Thanks. I make them myself when I can. Conversation dies off as I said about the business of feeding myself. Take a few bites, I glance up and notice Rin deftly opened the lunchbox and popping a forkful of food into her mouth using her feet. Even though I've seen it before, I can't help but be impressed at her dexterity. It's also a reminder of the sort of place I'm in right now. Will I ever get used to sights such as this? I can't decide if getting used to such a thing would be a good thing or a bad thing either. Does getting used to this place mean that I'm giving up on being a normal person? Or does it just mean that I'm becoming more understanding about those around me? I'm distracted from my thoughts by the sight of Emmy tearing into her lunch as if it had insulted her ancestors. That's one way of putting it. I ripped the lunchbox a new one. You seem pretty hungry. Emmy looks up, mouth half full, and swallows before nodding. My morning run almost works up an appetite. Which is great, because then I burn through lunch pretty quickly. Helps me keep my girlish figure. What would happen if you'd lose it? Would you become a man? I very nearly choke on my lunch, trying not to laugh. It's a figure of speech. Does your figure have to run in the morning too? Do you always talk like this? Talk like what? Like what? I think that answers my question. And never mind. So, I struggle to think of small talk and settle on the obvious question. How'd you two meet? Ren seems content to let Emmy answer this question. Someone in the housing department thought that we'd complement each other well, so we were assigned rooms next to one another. Complement each other? Like shoes and a suit. Huh? Emmy giggles at my confusion. Put us together and we've got all our limbs, get it? Ah. So I started helping Rin get ready in the mornings, and that was that. I mean, you can't help someone get dressed every morning and not get along. I see. Rin chooses her moment to interject. I have trouble with shirts. Right, that seems fairly obvious. Really? Kind of. Kind of? Well, you don't have arms, so buttoning a shirt is pretty difficult. This isn't helping, but at least Emmy seems to find the whole thing funny. That, combined with the fact that Rin is genuinely curious, makes me feel slightly better and yet confused. I mean, you've got no arms. So putting on a shirt seems like one of those things that would be difficult. You know what? I'm going to just stop talking now. It'll save me a lot of trouble in the long run. Rin nods in what I suspect is meant to be a sage manner. I see. The conversation dies as I turn my attention back to my lunch. It's really quite good. Emmy finishes her lunch first and makes a content noise. Ah, that was good. As she busies herself with cleaning up her lunch, Rin speaks up. I'm thirsty. Oh, I almost forgot about that. Sorry. With a flourish, she reaches into her bag and removes a trio of juice boxes. She tosses me one that appears to be cranberry juice, one to Rin that appears to be some kind of strawberry milk, complete with pink color scheme, and keeps a equally pink box of some kind of fruit punch for herself. Rin dexterously stabs her straw through the top of her box and begins to drink. I'm once again impressed by how flexible she is. This time I keep my comment to myself. Somehow I don't think either Emmy or Rin are the sort of people to think twice about the way they work around their particular disabilities. Rin especially so. Indeed, she gives off the impression of being entirely unaware that she's missing any limbs at all. Whether or not there's a conscious decision is another matter. I'm honestly not sure. So Hisao, how do you like it up here? It's quite nice actually. I like high places for the view. Thanks for inviting me up here. And for the lunch too. Emmy gives a 1,000-watt grin, pleased by my response I suppose. Kitty face! No problem. Feel free to eat with us next time too, okay? I won't make you lunch, but you can bring your own up here. No lunch service? I don't know. Emmy looks smug, offended. Trying to take advantage of my good nature? The nerve. She giggles. Well, if that's your answer, I guess Rin and I would just keep eating lunch all alone. I'm suddenly assaulted by a more heart-rending puppy dog eyes I've ever seen as Emmy pouts. Kidding! I was kidding! I love to eat lunch up here again. Okay, let me get this perfectly straight. Because I chose the second one, I might have accidentally clicked the Emmy one. I wanted to go with this with Hanako. Hopefully I can still go with Hanako. Good location and company is okay too. Emmy frowns a bit at my decision of okay, but seems happy enough with that I've accepted her invitation. I guess this makes us friends now. Or at least acquaintances. The lunch bell rings, signaling a return downstairs. Rin, you didn't finish your lunch again. I wasn't that hungry. If you don't eat more, you're going to fade away. Rin shrugs as if this is an acceptable risk. Come on, we'd better get going. The three of us head down the stairs together.